This is Arvette McLean
And Diana Wright.
of Speak, The Universe Listens.
Hey, Arvette.
Hi, Diana.
Good to see you again.
It's good to see you as well.
So today's topic is power of intention. So Arvette, what exactly does intention mean?
So, that's a question that I could probably answer in a lot of different ways. But I think in general, when people are saying my intention is blank, they're kind of thinking of what was on the first thought that was in their mind, like why were they doing whatever it is that they were doing. I was intending to do blank, or my intention is for this to happen, like this is what I want to happen. I think a lot of times we don't really understand how powerful our intentions are in terms of creating the lives that we want, or how much attention we should give to our intention.
So could you also, as you mentioned, the power that we have to create the life and everything that we want, but we also can put that energy out. Our intentions could be in a negative way as well. Could that also be in the same realm of things?
Yeah, I'm sure your intention, of course, could be a negative intention. But most of the times, I don't think people set out to have a negative intention. Most of the times, people want to do things that's good, at least for them. But I think people get confused, like they think their intention is one thing, when really it's something else. So, for example, let's see if I can come up with an example off the top of my head. So, let's say, I know, I always love using this example, right? My sister-in-law, she used to always throw these parties. Well, not always, but every time she would throw a party, no one would ever come to the party. And so that was kind of the joke, like, this was years ago. Whenever she threw a party, it might be like 2 or 3 people would show up. But by the same token, my husband, who is her brother, when he would throw a party, it'd be like, all these people would show up. And so I would be like, what is that? And so we used to just laugh about it, like, but I would always think, like, why is that happening? Because they know the same people, And so one time, so first of all, I never go to parties, ever, like, never ever. But one time I went to my dentist's party.
Okay.
And so as I was heading over to the party, I was thinking, why am I going to this party? Like, it just didn't make any sense. Why would I go to the dentist's party, right? And so I got to the party, and I ended up having a terrific time, right? Which, I was just like, just puzzled about this whole phenomenon. I really started thinking about it. And while we were there, people had come as far away from Virginia Beach to come to the dentist part. I mean, the dentist, not like the person, the dentist, but the dentist and the office.
Oh,
his office
the
part.
office part. Okay.
Right. People are coming from Virginia Beach, like almost 2 hours away to come to this party. And but what I realized when I was there was that the only thing he wanted was to say thank you for us being patient.
Okay.
He just wanted to show his appreciation. He poured appreciation into the party. Like, I felt appreciated, right? And so the more I thought about it, I was like, that's what got me there in the first place. It was his pure desire, his pure intention to show appreciation. And so what I realized from that point is that's sort of why my husband doesn't have problems getting people to parties, because he has a very clear, ideal intention of what he wants to create. And in the creation of it, he's putting in like any detail that he can think of that people would love. Like, he just wants people to love this experience. He wants people to feel good when they come there. He wants them to feel like this was for them. Like, he puts all of that into it. And I think that's what pulls people to the party because it's for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know, I'm not saying that his sister didn't want people to have a good time. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times when we do things, we're doing them maybe for our own reasons. Like, maybe she just wanted some friends to get together. You know what I'm saying? Or nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with the reason why you're doing things, but just being clear on why you're doing it. And a lot of times that gets lost. So, for example, let's say if you have your own business and you're saying, I want people to come so that my business can blow up, so my business can be the bomb, can be big and whatever. Okay, not necessarily a bad goal is for your business to be big, but what if you wanted people to come so that they can receive the benefits that your business has to offer? And the more that people feel whatever it is that you're offering, like they're feeling like this is a good service or they're benefiting from it in some way, they're going to show up.
Right.
And so your business is still going to prosper, but because you're putting the energy into them or you're putting your intention, and your intention is it's like your energy. That is
Right.
what you're putting out. And so, does that make sense?
Yes, it definitely makes sense because it's the energy behind it.
Mhm.
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
Right. And so there actually another way. So when people speak of intentions, it's usually two ways that you're kind of thinking about it. So one is what we just talked about. It's kind of like, what is your underlying desire or reason for doing whatever the thing is, right? And a lot of times we do have to peel back skin to figure out, okay, why am I doing that? Am I doing that because I'm trying to fulfill some unfulfilled need for myself? And if you're doing it for a reason that's on a low frequency vibration, then what you receive back
It's going to be
is
low.
going to be low. So just being sure that, because people can do good things, but for not necessarily the right reason. You know what I mean?
Yes, or not realizing that they're doing it for the not so right reason
Right.
in that sense.
Right. And it's not necessarily wrong. It's not wrong to want to make yourself feel better, but just being clear that that's why you're doing that. And so if you can get clear on, I'm just trying to boost my ego, like I'm doing these wonderful things because I'm trying to make myself feel better about who I am, you have very different results than if you're doing it because you're trying to make someone else
Feel better.
right. It's going to be two different results because it's two different energies that go in that. But another way, when you think about intentions, this is a good story. I actually heard this story recently, and it was really a study that was done, and there were these maids who lived in Mexico. They were Mexican maids. They worked at like a hotel. And so when someone was watching them and they realized that with all the work that they do in terms of, taking sheets and flipping beds and vacuuming and doing all the scrubbing, that they were actually getting in more than the U.S. recommended allowance for how much exercise you need in order to keep, your weight in check and to, have the other benefits of health. So, but all the maids were overweight. So in the study, they split the maids into two groups. So one group, both groups, they just weighed them and took their measurements, right? One group, that's all they did. The other group, they told the maids that they are exceeding the USA recommended daily allowance for exercise. And so because they're exceeding it, they should be losing weight. So at the end of 6 weeks, the maids who were told that they should be losing weight, they lost weight. They lost weight, they lost inches. And the other maids, there was no difference. And so kind of like what you can extract from that is like when you are doing something with intention, because now they're thinking, I'm
Gonna lose weight.
it's like your body follows your mind. So if your mind is saying, okay, if I do this, I'm going to lose weight, then when you do that, you're going to lose weight. So that's the power of intention.
Okay. And that just, it makes such a difference, and you stop and you think about it. And most people, we don't stop and think, okay, why am I doing this? Not to a very, minute level, and really kind of dig deep within ourselves to find out why we're doing certain things. And I think we'll learn a whole lot more about our intentions. And is it the right way? And is it the right path that we should be going when we really think about why are we doing it? Is it for a personal reason? Is it for not just myself, but for others as well? Mm-hmm. And it's on two different, like you said, two different levels. Mm-hmm. And what you put out is what you get back.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that's one that I've had to kind of delve into that a lot, because like you said, it's more than, it's not just surface level. It's deeper than that. And so I've had a person in my life who did wonderful things, like they did nice and kind things, but they didn't get in return the same thing back in return. Wherein someone right next to them is also doing these kind of things, but then it's getting lavished with all these rewards as a result. And so they're like, how's that fair? I'm doing the same thing that they're doing, but they're getting all the rewards and I'm getting nothing. Mm-hmm. And then literally helping them to pull back the layers as to why are you doing these things? And people can feel that. People don't really know. They're not consciously feeling like, okay, you're doing this because you have low self-esteem. They're not feeling it on that level, but people can feel the energy.
Yes, you can.
Right. Mm-hmm. And they respond in kind.
And it's just like, I think we had talked in the past or before about like when you walk in a room, and how you can feel the energy of that room, whether it's good energy, whether it's negative energy, and if you're in tune with that, you'll know from one person to the next. And I know when I do trainings at work, I feel those individual, and I talk about it, how our energy can connect. And I can also feel a difference when someone doesn't connect. And that's just what they are putting out. And most people don't even realize it.
Yeah, so when I do my meditations, that's one of the ones I like to do. One of the, I guess, kind of like affirmations that I do is I say that my intentions have infinite organizing abilities. And when I'm saying that, I'm actually visualizing myself being on a cliff, and I'm seeing the ocean and the waves, and I lay my intentions on the ocean and let the waves carry them out into the universe. But I'm literally thinking about what are my desires, what am I to create next, and let it carry it out. So that's one of my favorites.
Good. Sounds lovely. And you're putting, the focus on it as well, which, brings that energy even more powerful. So listening to the story about the maids made me think about another story that we talked about in regarding seeds. And there was, I don't know how many groups of seeds, but there was, I would just say it for a lack of not knowing, there was two groups of seeds. One group, intentions were set for this set of group of seeds, but the other was not. So the group of seeds that intentions were set, they grew, where the others didn't grow, or they didn't grow as much. And that reminded the story of the maids, where pretty much was the same. An intention was set with the maids that was exceeding in health-wise and exercise and everything, where the other set wasn't given anything, so they didn't lose weight and the others did. So that shows the power of it.
I'm a fairly new person on social media, probably within the past 2 years, and I'm still not really on social media a lot, but one of the things that I come across a lot on social media is people say things like, God knew I wasn't ready for a certain thing yet, that's why I didn't get that. Or basically, God knows best, because if I had received what I wanted things would have been screwed up, pretty much. Have you
Okay.
seen
Yeah.
or heard
Heard,
people say
yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Mhm.
Yeah, and so one of the things, like, that's what I think about when I think of intentions. And, you know, people are saying, well, God knew this, and so that's why God didn't let me do that. But to me, I feel like maybe you weren't ready, but that's the power of intention, right? You use your intention to make yourself ready. So you're not necessarily not getting the thing because God said you ain't ready. You weren't ready because you haven't set your intention in a direction to be ready. And so that's what we need to really be focused on, is making ourselves ready. And we can make ourselves ready by seeing what it is that we want, setting our intention for it. And in that, it's going to pull you in the direction of being ready. And, you know, one thing that I've talked about pretty much since the start of the podcast is that I am manifesting $247 million. And like I've said several times that the Arvette today is not ready for that. But Arvette is making herself ready. So I'm setting my intention. And so things are moving in ways, some ways that I am very aware of. And then of course in ways that I'm unaware of. And I don't know if we have time for me to share this story, but I'm gonna see if I can make it quick. So it's funny how I can feel things changing and unfolding for me. And, you know, it's in ways unexpected. And I think recently you asked me, had I basically cleared away, basically had I gotten rid of like the things that have been holding me back? Have I broken free of those things? And I said, well, the things that I'm aware of, I think I pretty much let stuff go. But, you know, then the stuff that I'm unaware of, you know, hey, who knows? And so very recently, I have been faced with this situation. So it's always been the case that I tend to be last in situations. So if there's a line forming, I'm normally going to be the last person in line. If everybody's trying to get to something, I'm going to be the last one to get it. And I know that, let's say, if I'm walking down the street, I'm the person that's moving out of the way of the other person. And that's just always been the case. Like, that's always been the case. But as of lately, and it just happened in a short period of time, I became very aware of it, right? People would just walk in front of me in line like I'm not there. And so that's, like I said, that's always been the case. People have always just walked in front of me, and I would always say, am I invisible? Did they not see me? You know, but for whatever reason, it became a source of irritation for me. And it happened a lot in a short period of time. And sometimes people get in front of me in line because maybe they don't want to stand in line. But other times, I could be the last person in line, and the people get in front of me. And I'm just like, do you not see me? And so I was walking through the mall. It was extremely, extremely crowded. And the whole time I was just doing like this. I was just shifting. And I was like, why am I the only person? Nobody's moving out of my way. I'm moving out of everybody's way. And I said, well, can they see me? Like, what would happen if I didn't move out of their way? Would they move? And so I was just asking myself these questions. And also, I would be standing in a place, like in a location, and then it's like other people want to stand where I'm standing. And so they'll just push me out of the way. And I'm just like, you know, why is this happening? And so I had mentioned it to my husband. I don't know if he really, you know, fully believed me, or maybe he thought it was in my head or whatever. So I say to myself, I'm not giving way. I'm not going to move. And let's see what happened. And so I didn't move, and people just bumped into me. People pushed me over, knocked me over. And so my husband is just like, hey, you know, and so people are like, oh, so sorry. So it wasn't something I made up. Like, this was literally happening. People are, if I hold my ground, people will push me over.
Really?
Yeah. And so I was just like, I just kept saying, am I invisible? Like, do they not see me? And so I was like, what energy am I putting out in the world that's allowing people to either not see me or to see me and not care that I'm present? And I just kept saying, what energy is that? And so it just so happened, that was like a Monday, like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday when I was going through that phase. And that Wednesday came and our podcast came on. Diana, I would say the second sentence out of my mouth on the podcast said, I spent my whole life trying to be invisible.
Okay. Your intention.
Yeah, I spent my whole life trying to be invisible. And I saved it in the video, and I was experiencing it full on for those four days, and just how it was so synced that that podcast came on at the same time I was putting the question out in the universe, why is this happening? And so then the question for me became, am I ready to stop being invisible? I don't have an answer to that question yet, but I say that to say that my intention of expanding and becoming the person who can receive $247 million causes me to now deal with this issue of invisibility, and how am I going to handle that from this point out.
Wow. So make sure that you are setting your intentions, and when you are setting your intentions, make sure you are clear on those intentions as well, because what you put out is what you get back.
Yeah, so make yourself ready. Until next time, this is Arvette.
This is Diana.
Bye.
Bye.